That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. I'm gonna say Tito Jackson on that empty head. How are you all doing today? Welcome back to the Coffee Q&A. This is our daily live stream, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. I'm your host, Jay. Welcome back to the show here on the onocoffee channel. So this is part 3 of our how to make coffee liqueur at home. We've already made it. Now we just got to understand what to do with it. So yesterday we finally took the coffee liqueur and, strained it out. This is using Tito's vodka. I guess it's I like Tito Jackson personally. Actually, I saw Tito Jackson in concert during the Victory Tour at RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C. My mom, this is like 1984, maybe 1983 or 2, whatever it was. I was way younger than being able to drive, and my mom drove me all the way down to the RFK Stadium, and we went to the concert, And this is right at that age. I was right at that age where, it's no longer cool to hang out with mom. Like, you're just like, oh no, I'm going to be my own man now, and I'm going to show the world that I can stand on my own. I gotta, all that foolishness. Everybody goes through that. My nieces and nephews are at that age too, like that 12 to 14 to 15, 16 age, and they're, breaking through. And then my other friends and some of my other cousins, they have kids in those ranges, and they're always like, it's so difficult. It's so difficult. I'm like, you know what, man? 6 years, you'll be fine. By the time they get to be 22, they'll probably come back. And they'll be over that whole phase. They've already figured out who they want to be, or kind of. They've got beaten up. They've got brokenhearted, all that stuff. And so that's when I started to come back to the fold. I was like, okay, now that I've kind of proven to myself that I'm just a general idiot, now I can, come back and hang out with my dad again. Anyway, aloha to you, Keone. How are you? So we've got our liqueur ready to go. But what are we going to do with it? Yesterday we tried it, and it wasn't so delicious, right? We tried this. Well, here, let's look at it first. We tried this. So just to recap on our recipe, as you can see here, we used 227 grams of the Perla Negra, which is our cold brew made for us in Nicaragua. It's an anaerobic fermentation coffee that actually will give you some nice milky sweetness notes, as because it's cool. It's really a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's not like the anaerobic fermentation that you get now, where a lot of people are going for more extreme kinds of experiences. This is just a much more mellow, much more calm, much more, just so delicious. I really, really like it. And then we're also using about 1,212 grams of Tito's homemade vodka. Basically, it was just whatever I had left in here, I use that. All right, so we let that sit until yesterday. So about 3 weeks, 20 days. This is done on the 1st of August. And it's kind of harsh. It doesn't really have much sweetness, not like our mother, this Bacardi-based liqueur that I made in 2007. That has a nice sweetness. But you know what? As we were talking about yesterday, I can no longer remember if I fortified that or not. I don't believe that I did. I don't think we were doing that then, but I'm not sure, because I haven't really looked to see if I have notes from that. But let's have another taste again to see. Ooh, astringent. Oh, yeah. It should get better, bitter. It should get better as it dissipates and lingers on the. Oh man. Mamma mia, that is just so difficult to work with. It really is like drinking vanilla extract, which is really what it is. And so basically this coffee liqueur is an extract, much like this thing that I have here. This is our decopon, what I call decocello. And decocello is basically an orange cello that is made with decopon oranges. And if you're not familiar with decopon oranges are these hybrids of regular oranges and mandarin, and they're really nicely sized, and they have this kind of bump on it. They're kind of ugly, and actually you kind of want it to be ugly. It reminds me of the old ka'u oranges from Ka'u, Hawaii, on the big island in the lower part of the southern part of the island. There's a place called Puna, and they used to grow oranges in this area called Ka'u. And man, back in the 90s, I thought those were the best oranges I've ever had in my entire life. They only came out in January. And when they brought them to Safeway on Honolulu, I was like, oh my gosh, man, I need to eat more of these. They were so amazing. I think the Decopone is very similar in flavor and in character. I just love it. I love it. And what happened is that the Ka'u oranges, evidently, there was really only one farm trying to do it commercially. And, you know, local people, man, sometimes they're crazy. They like just started stealing his oranges and he couldn't make any money. So he stopped doing it. And it's like, man, they just robbed the entire world of joy because he had to steal his oranges. Don't steal the guy's oranges. Don't steal people's like agriculture. Gosh, it's amazing we have to tell people that. Anyway, but I went to Brazil, to Sao Paulo for their event one year, but 2002, I was down there. And my host took me to the Mercadão, which is the big market in Sao Paulo. Went to this fruit vendor, and he started letting us tasting all these fruits. And oh man, and one of those, I mean, so beautiful fruits. I mean, really beautiful fruits. Awesome flavors. Like, you know, you just really, they really had them at the peak of their ripeness. But he showed me this Decopone, and I was like, oh God, this is like the Ka'u orange. I mean, so it's called Decopone, Dekopon, Decopone, or it's also called Shiranui, Shiranui, Shiranui. They also, in the United States, they also will sell on the brand of Sumo oranges, like Sumotori, like sumo wrestler. They're only available like in January, like they're only available January to March, so you have to wait. They are available in other parts of the world depending on their growing cycles, but here in the United States, they really only come out in the first quarter of the year. But if you can get those, I think you'll find them lovely. So this is the Decopone. So I thought this one, similar process that we've done here. As you can see on the labeling here, I did put labeling here, 3/27 to 4/29, 2023. So a year ago, we made this one and only did it. What we're doing here for this is a little bit different. We're doing the whole beans, we're grinding them and then soaking them. In this particular one, we're just taking the rind, not the rind, but what's this, whatever this is called, right? But not the white part, just the colored part. Putting them into the liquor. This one I used a vodka, I think, and infusing it for like a month, and then adding sugar, fortifying with sugar to give it that sweetness. Because the Decopone, the Decocello, we call it, or the orange cello is really like a cello. So we're really trying to make it a very sweet, viscous thing. And so I do have this here. I'm going to pour a little bit of that. And as you can see, it's very syrupy. It's very thick. Lots of viscosity. But the viscosity, here's the thing. So the viscosity is coming because it is just loaded with sugar. Like, I have to look at my notes on it, but I think it's more than you would put to make simple syrup. Like, that's why it's got this viscosity. Like, this viscosity isn't, you don't normally get viscosity when you're making simple syrup. If you want to get viscosity with a regular simple syrup recipe, you probably need to add like an additive like xanthan gum or something. Shear that in so you can get that thickness without being over. This one has just, like, it was a ridiculous amount. I mean, I remember that I used a bottle like this, and I filled it, God, at least to here, which by weight is much more than half. And basically, we just shook it and shook it and shook it and waited. It took several days for it to fully dissolve. And I didn't want to heat it because, well, you know, you're going to heat and burn off the liquors. Anyway. Very nice, very nice. Smooth, sweet. Better if it's really cold. Like, this is just at room temperature, so it's a little bit more. Actually, it's a little more expressive. So we're gonna do first. We're gonna do a couple. We're gonna try to figure out what to do. Like I mentioned yesterday, this is now an extract, so we can use it as an extract in food processing. So if we wanted to make, like, let's say, a cake, we could bake a cake using this in lieu of, let's say, like vanilla extract. So you can use this in many ways, just like this. But in a drink, I don't know if that's going to work very well. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a liqueur, or make a fortification of it. So I got some sugar. I got some regular sugar here, just pure granulated cane sugar. I like cane sugar more than I like beet sugar, so I'm always looking for cane rather than beet. This is Domino brand here in Baltimore, really simple. And I've got a little jar. So we're just going to make a very simple pour. Excuse me. We're going to make a very simple, liquor. So let's, we're going to use equal amounts of our extract and sugar by weight. So I'm going to kind of eyeball how much we're going to put in here based on just the quantity I might want to use. So let's go to about there. Okay, let's go a little bit more. 250. We're going to go to 250. Oops. I'm going to go to 250. Now, I am just calling this 250, not because I have any particular. I mean, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to talk about the ratio that I'm going to use, which is a 1 to 1 weight. I don't know if that's really how it's done. I'm just kind of making it up. Okay, so now we've got our 250. We're going to go to 500 total weight with the sugar. So let's add the sugar. So we can zoom in a little bit more to make it look exciting. All right, let's take this big chunk. Oops, that's not working. Got to watch out for the ploppiness. And I'm making a mess. You'd think that I was a professional. Somewhere along the way, I'm telling you I'm a professional, but I'm still making a mess. Ugh. God, what in the world? We're going to run out of space before we actually get to our 500. 430. Turn my body around here. 444. 457. Come on. 502. 500. So we've got some that I spilled because I'm kind of poured this. So we're just going to say that's an even 500. Put that aside. I'm making a mess here. All right, so now we've got our coffee and our sugar. Look how much sugar it is. Okay, let's cover it. We're going to lid that. And now we're just going to shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Now here's something about sugar. Sugar is highly soluble in water. Like it will become completely dissolved in water. Now, alcohol, I find that's it takes longer to dissolve. It will dissolve, but it just takes longer. It's, I guess, what do they call that? Hygroscopic? But you just kind of have to shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Unfortunately, it doesn't go very fast. Oh, Michael, how are you? Good to see you. We are making coffee liqueur from a coffee that we have infused into Tito's homemade vodka. How are things in Japan? I was just thinking about coming out there at some point. I keep thinking I want to go in the fall, which I would like to go do, but then maybe if I can get away at all, it might be not until like February. The winter. Yeah, I like traveling more in the winter time, or at least American winter, than I do the rest of the year. Like historically, I don't go anywhere during the summer because it's so busy at the airports, and all these people traveling. So and airfare is never as convincing as it is during the winter time. Oh, it's very hot. Yeah. I mean, I remember last summer. Oh, Uncle Michael, this is Keone Nunez. Keone is basically a kumu of Hawaiian tattoo from Vaimapuna. He's been a buddy, a friend, and a regular viewer for a little while now. It's been really great, and he actually knows Haunani Balino. I mean, Haunani. Uh-oh. What is May's last name now? Now I can't remember. I said that's embarrassing, So we're just going to shake that. So that's being shaken. While that's shaking, so hopefully this will. It's not too bad looking. It's a little bit fuzzy. It's a little bit. We'll see what happens if it settles. Let me grab some of the other things that we need. I left the cooler on the other side of the bar. Okay, now we need to do a little cleanup here. I got a lot of sugar just sitting here on the surface. Okay, now, yeah, you can see here it's a little bit, it's not fully dissolved, but it's getting there. It's really just a matter of shaking it. And so what I would do is when we made this decopon, right, and this, it would just be like, come in, shake it for a little while, let it sit, come back the next day, shake it some more. And hopefully it won't take that long to do that. And we'll try playing around with it just like this. So what I got today was we wanted to see how does our coffee liqueur perform as a beverage? Because one of the things I'm thinking about using it for is at the cold brew competition this weekend, which I still don't know if using an alcohol is a violation of the rules. I may just go for it anyway, because you know what? I don't care about winning. Well, it's no big deal for me, but I just like the challenge of doing something interesting and seeing how can we push the boundaries of what we're doing. So what we're looking to do is something called a mizuwari. And the mizuwari is a style of drinking whiskey by diluting it with water and then using some herbs to enhance the flavor experience, right? So basically it's a way to take, let's say, your Suntory whiskey, dilute it with water, with ice, and just make a nice, light, refreshing drink from your whiskey without necessarily altering the flavor experience of the whiskey. So that's kind of the basis of what we're working with. Now, sometimes people do use mint, fresh mint on there. So I picked this from the garden. It's getting late in the season, and I don't really cultivate the mint. The mint is just wild growing, and quite a number of years ago, maybe 15, 20 years ago, a friend of mine, wanted to make mojitos at a party that we're having here at the house, and he was like, "Yeah, I brought some plants. Let me put the plant in your garden." It's like, in your yard. And I was like, "All right." That one plant has become this mass amounts of ridiculousness. So if you, I don't recommend planting mint in your house, or at least outside, out of a controlled environment. You want to put it in a pot where you can control it. But also what happens is that since I'm not cultivating this, I'm just letting it grow wild. So it gets very large, and I'm not, let's say with the basil that I grow, those are in pots, and I'm actually actively pruning them and trimming them to get better growth, because otherwise they become really twiggy and really tall, and it's just not really nice. You don't get good amount of leaves. And I kind of because there's so much of this, right? Throughout the summer, it's just ridiculous. It's oh my gosh, it's taking over again. But now that we're towards the end of the season, it's it's getting twiggy, it's getting woody, it's drying up, and the harvest is not as good. And I really need to make more stuff with mint. I just don't know why. Dan says mint is invasive. Absolutely. Oh yes, thank you, Uncle Michael. A sing. Gosh, how can I forget those things? And then Kyori says, "I'm living in Thailand now, but we'll be in Japan for a tattoo festival in October." Oh, nice. October. Maybe I should get there. Shake, 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 shake your coffee. Exactly, exactly. And I love Empty Heads loves rubbing mint, loves rubbing mint leaves between his fingers. Oh, I'm losing it. And mint is invasive. Yeah, man, totally. This is it's so crazy how it is. Then Chevy, well, at least it's only up your nose. And then Uncle Michael says that there is and there are some pool events going on in October. Excellent, excellent. Yeah. MT says that it sounds some bit aggressive to use that to smell it, especially when you just do that, or maybe just roll the leaf, right? So you take the leaf and then you roll. Well, I guess if you're rolling the leaves, you are getting it on your fingers, and you could. But when I think of this, I don't think of mint. All right, so let's go and try. Let's do a little more shaking. As you can see here, it's a little bit. It has settled a little bit, so we've got a little bit of settlement. We did dissolve a lot of it. Like that's all that's left that needs to be dissolved. So the dissolution of the sugar, the solid sugar, into the liquid, into the liqueur has been fairly successful. Let's see if we can get the rolling shutter to work. Mint is all the place, says Kyoto. Yeah, man, mint is so invasive. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Okay. What are we doing? We're making a drink. And I need a glass. Okay, first drink we're going to try just the liqueur by itself to see what happens, right? So let me get some ice. One of the nice things about having a shop or roastery that has an ice maker is that you don't really ever have to be without ice. And I know for those of you who are at home and you're like, well, I have an ice maker in my refrigerator. That's not a problem. I totally hear you but up here at my house, our ice maker has been on the fritz for many years. So I have to actually actively transport ice in the summertime on a daily basis. But it's all right because, man, since we have an ice maker, it's like, that's not too difficult. Okay, so we've got our ice here. We've got our ice. And we're going to take a shot. Oh, wrong liqueur. What am I doing? Now I've contaminated that. Great. Yeah. Hi, I'm a working professional. Yes, I am. And don't do as I do because I'm doing it completely wrong. I was watching one of my favorite YouTube creators this morning. Her name is Jessica Lee. She's a Korean girl based in the Philippines that does all these like food videos, trying out different food places in the Philippines. I really enjoy her work, and she did like one of her first live streams ever this morning. So I happened to catch it, and she was like talking, and she's making mistakes or whatever. And she's talking about those. I was like, yeah, that's how live streams work. You make mistakes, and then you have to keep going. Okay, so let's try this now. This is the one we want to use. Okay, so there's a shot. I'm gonna pour that in. Now the Mizuwari just uses regular water. So let's use actually this water, Vayakea from Hilo. You know, those of you who are not familiar, this is actually a really nice water. Actually, I really like it. I know I've talked about this before, but so basically what this is basically tap water from Hilo. But the way the volcanic soil and all the rocks and the soil and everything filters through to the artesian wells that they pump it from, I just like the flavor. Like I like the flavor of Honolulu's tap water. And I think this is somewhat similar. Although I wish they would sell this. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to pour it over. And now we're just going to see what is it like in this format. Do we like it? Do we not like it? Do we need to stir it? Maybe we need to start. Where's our bar spoon? Looks a little bit cloudy, like it's not so clear and pretty. I don't know if that's just condensation on. Can we just put that through there? Is that condensation? No, even if I wipe it, it's still kind of cloudy. That's interesting. That's not pleasant. Like, I don't think I like that at all. It's bitter. It's not as heavy because it's, you know, diluted, but what if we added mint to it? Let's do the mint thing. We'll do like Empty Head says. We'll shove it on our fingers and see what happens. There's our mint there. I know I could use more, but I'm just going to use a little bit just to see if it might enhance something. Oh God, that's just not pleasant. Okay, let us try some of the lemon. Oh gosh, it's just not fun. This must be what Dave Arnold. It must be what his life is like. Okay, so let's do some cutting here. We're going to cut this off. Oh, we'll just use that a little bit, see if that does anything. Oh, I can smell it already. Do a little bit around the rim. See if that gives us anything. Oh man, that is there. You can kind of get the sensation of the lemon, but it's not. Oh, that's not helping. Okay, let's abandon that idea. That's not working. We need to go to the fortified. So we got, again, it's a little bit more. It's still settling, but almost there. Oh, I don't know if my mic is shaking while I'm doing this. Mom, good morning to you, man. Welcome to the party. At the rate that I'm drinking alcohol, it's going to be quite a party. Uncle Michael says, maybe put a little cream into it. Ooh, that might be something. Cream and mint. Okay, cream and mint. Is the sugar dissolved? Well, the sugar's getting there. It's getting there. It does take a bit longer than it would if this was. I think that because it is an alcohol, it inhibits the rate at which it dissolves, but it will dissolve. It just takes time. Like this Decopon, the Decocello. Actually, here's another version of it that I have that is a little bit darker in shade because it actually went longer. I ran them longer, right? So you can kind of see this one. Well, actually, looking on camera, it may not look the same, but this one is, in person, this one's actually a couple shades darker than this one because this one spent, as you can see here on the labeling, it spent 4 months on the rind, whereas this one spent just a month, right? So the flavors are a little bit different, but the concentration of sugars are the same. And actually, I can see that here there's some sediments that are now getting mixed up, that the filtration wasn't as good in that one as this one. Rusty, what's going on, Rusty? Mint simple syrup? You know, we could make mint simple syrup. We could definitely do that. Let's see if we get mint syrup. All right, let's take this, and where'd my scale? The scale's over here. Let's go back to our scale. Okay, scale. Let's add, I'm going to use this water here. This is a water that's still kind of on the warmer side because I used it to make, I made coffee before, so I needed to have something to, because I know we're drinking all this drinking means I got to eat breakfast, right? Sometimes I don't eat breakfast, but so I went out and bought some donuts. Yeah, breakfast champions, and made us some coffee. Actually, today's coffee, let's do that. Okay, so 250. I guess we'll make the same thing, and let's put. I don't know how much mint we have to put in here, but let's put a bit of it. Whatever. Now, the problem with the mint is probably going to turn a bit dark. I haven't played enough with mint, so I don't really know how to control it very well. But I would like to make mint syrup that is. Come on. And I'm going to run. See, I'm going to run out of sugar too. I'm going to run out of sugar today. Okay, there is our. Okay, let's get rid of this again. All right, so we got our syrup here. Don't worry, I did wash the bar spoon before going to this. Now, one thing I did that I was mentioning about the water is because I did boil it earlier, about 9 o'clock, and so it still has residual heat. So here's something that I notice a lot of people on recipes online and on YouTube. They talk about making simple syrup. They're always talking about heating it. And I'm like, you don't need to heat it. You can make simple syrup at room temperature. Actually, you can make it with cold refrigerated water, and it will still, dissolve into solution because that's just the nature of sugar. The colder it is, the longer it takes. So this one, as you can see, it's pretty much dissolved. Uncle Michael says iced coffee with liquor in it. And then Rusty, mint simple syrup here. So Rusty is asking, someone tell me what liquor. The liquor is, the base liquor is Tito's. We're using, what is it? How much were we using? We were using 212 grams or 1,212 grams of the vodka with 227 grams of the Perla Negra Cold Brew anaerobic, blah, 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 blah. So there it is. There's our syrup. I don't know if it tastes. I don't know how it tastes. Let's see. Does it taste like mint yet? Or oh, it does have mintiness. So let's say, okay, we got a little bit of mint here. We got a little bit of lemon. Let's go with a little bit of mint syrup. Let's say half an ounce. Half an ounce. I did mix it with whatever was left in there. Okay, there we go. Which this might approximate the result of the fortification of the liquor. These are one of those times, like I have to really get to the point where my palate is still kind of coated with this. So we need to get past that and go to more. I have to get the palate clean. So let's. Now, I did drink this water from that glass for your benefit, because otherwise, if I was doing this all by myself, I would have just sweetened it straight from the bottle. Okay, so I think my palate's betterly cleansed. Let's try another half ounce. That was a little bit better. Oh, that's kind of pleasant now. That is kind of pleasant. A little bit strange, but kind of pleasant. This is one of those times that I wonder, like, is it truly enjoyable or is it just interesting because it's coffee and you're trying these? Like, do you really, you drink it and do you really like it? It's like a drink that I made for competition. My last year of like active competition in 2009 in the Barista Championships of America. I made a beverage that was based on lobster. So basically it was a lobster celeriac coffee cream drink. And as I was developing it, I don't know if I ever liked it. Like I even said that in my presentations that I don't know if I like it, but it's interesting. And like the judges that I had that round, you know, some of them I've known for many years, they're like, that was actually one of the best drinks I've ever had. I was like, really? Because I don't know if I like. It's one of those things. This could be one of those things where it's interesting, but I don't know if I like it. Like this is the issue that I find myself in a lot of spaces. It's like I think I tend to go back to the basic unit. Like I was at the ice cream shop last night, right? I went to this place. There's a place here in Baltimore called Always Ice Cream. Relatively new in Baltimore. Very nice quality ice cream. So I went by there last night and I ordered an ice cream scoop. And I always get the vanilla. Like I like to have the vanilla. So I told them sugar cone with the vanilla and whatever other flavor. And there I like their peanut butter Oreo. So basically cookies and cream ice cream with peanut butter mixed in. And there's all kinds of crazy flavors. And all the flavors are cool. I've tasted, and like if I go there, I'll usually ask them for a sample of, or whatever I'm curious, I'll try a sample. But I always go back to the vanilla because the vanilla to me is kind of like the basis of everything that they do. If they can do vanilla well, then they're probably doing a really good job on everything else. Because I don't know if I like all those other flavors. Like as cool as they may be, like peach melba. Yeah, sure, I like peach melba. But do I really want to eat that as a full scoop of ice cream? I don't know. Do I get as much enjoyment out of it as, say, like chocolate or vanilla or Oreo? I don't know. I don't know. And so that's what I'm wondering here. Like, we have nice coffee. And I always wonder, do we need to do this? Like, how much of doing this kind of thing is because it's really necessary and needed, or just because we're doing it for, I don't know what reasons. But one of the things I don't like about it is the color. As you can see here, it's kind of cloudy. It looks kind of like cloudy iced tea at the moment, which always irritates me because, you know, when you take freshly brewed iced tea and then you put it in the refrigerator, it gets cloudy. You're like, now you can clarify that by adding hot water to it, but it's a little process. Yeah, what liquor? Tito's, absolutely, absolutely. It's a homemade coffee liqueur. There it is. Oh, it reminds me of Rap's Auntie Maria. I have to be honest, you know, Replinger's era was actually before I got to Honolulu. So I wasn't as well versed in Replinger's comedy as much as I was with, like, for me, the later generations, like Augie T was really, I really thought he was funny. Like that era of like late 80s, early 90s, like Frank DeLima was like, because I think Replinger is like, you know, is prior to Frank DeLima. So if I'm kind of towards the later part of Frank DeLima and into the Augie T kind of era. So I know Rep, but I don't know him as well as a lot of other local people. Keone says, by the way, I did see the red Kalita kettles here, and I picked up. Oh, nice, nice. I have been using it really like the spout. Is because yeah, those are great ones. What I did learn from one of our viewers is, and I was saying, Like this is the Kalita kettle that he's talking about. Then they do come in a couple different sizes, I believe, and this is the smaller one. And I like the smaller ones because it's just easier to control. Now, the ones that I got from Cafe del Hombre are much bigger. As you can see, there's a size difference, but look at the spouts. They're pretty much the same. So I bought, is this the one that I bought? This one, yeah, I bought this one on my first trip to Cafe del Hombre back in 2007. And I didn't really use it. I just mostly had it on display. It's still around. And I've always been under the impression that this was made, after I saw this, I always have presumed that this was also being made by Kalita. However, one of our viewers on one of the videos that I talked about this, and I don't remember if it was a live stream or one of the produced videos, he was like, no, it's actually from another company. And I was like, really? Huh. Okay. I looked it up and then he was totally right. So these two are very similar, but evidently they're not the same. So, but I mean, if you look at the pour spouts, right? The pour spouts are, I mean, they're practically identical. So this one is a little bit wider, you can see. I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make, but but I found great joy and success in using this. Like these are the ones that we used in the Cafe du Spro for making the Nell drip. So they're really nice quality on their own. So nothing wrong with them at all. Okay, so let's go. We've got to. It's not perfect. Oops. It's not perfect. You can see here. I'm going to shake it one more time, and then we're going to try making a beverage with this. Okay, I'm going to dump this out because I'm going to use this glass again. Okay, get some more ice for this thing. I am starting to feel a little bit of the effect. I don't drink a lot. So drinking is like, I can feel it. Okay, so let's open this up and see how it looks. Yeah, a little bit cloudy, but you can see it's got nice viscosity, yes. Oh, goodness. Look at that. Just make a mess here. Just can't seem to do anything correctly. So there's still a bit of astringency to it. That's to be expected. It's just starting its journey. I think a lot of the astringency goes away over time. It's, of course, very sweet. And because it's still in the middle of dissolving the sugars, there is a little bit of grit. Okay, let's pour some out here. Okay, we're going to use a full ounce. And you can see it's really viscous. It's really the way it pours. Now, let's do some more of this Vajaykäa. Let's try the Vajaykäa again. We're going to stick with this the standard Mizuwari approach. So there we are. Now this time, because the liqueur is actually weighted, there is a separation. So that's pretty. I like that. I think that's pretty. This is where I would want to garnish it, right? Put some garnish here like this, right? Like let's put some garnish and then some maybe of the lemon. But let's first, before we do that, let's first taste the drink. I'll rinse off my hands because it's getting all sticky. Let's spin it. So a little bit, now it just makes it more homogenized. But this is nice and clear. It's not like the other one that's all cloudy. Okay, that's pleasant. Huh. I like that. I can drink that. I can drink that. That might be our drink for tonight's live stream. So tonight's live stream is the Coffee and Cigars live stream. Every Thursday night, we have a Thursday night hang on the Ono Live channel. If you have time, come and join us. Starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, let's just cut a little bit of that. Yeah, okay, good. This is my little Damascus utility knife. I got it from a place here called Korin. Really nice. Korin is a Korin. If you're interested in Japanese knives, nice little shop in the Wall Street district of New York City. So let's do a little bit of the, and then around the outside, into it. Now let's give it another stir. Let's see how that impacts. Oh, yeah, that's a little more alive. There's a little bit of brightness now, but that just, and it's not a brightness like, you know, with like light roasted coffee brightness. It's kind of like, it just kind of pops the flavor a little bit more. Oh, okay. Now let's get some of this here. Mint, empty head style of mint here. Crush with our fingers and then shove it up our noses. Peter says to make tiramisu with it. Oh, absolutely, we can make tiramisu with that. That's so true. That's so true. And Uncle Michael says that a little bit of this and a little bit more of that. I know we'll make it just right. Oh, yeah. Now, I think that it is a little bit heavy on the syrupiness, meaning that I think that it's a little bit, maybe instead of using a full ounce in this size glass, I would only now use maybe 3/4 of an ounce. Just because I would like to tone that sweetness down. And we haven't even reached full dissolve on the sugar. So actually we should probably tap that back. We have a little more headspace now. We'll shake that a little bit. I'm gonna have a lot to clean up today. All right, that's interesting. Let us look also now. So some of the things I'm curious to know is like, that's the basic, because this is the basic mizuwari style of making this drink. And it's actually that's pretty darn good. Like that's actually fun to drink. With the last version, I was saying that, you know, I'm trying to figure out why would we do this? Like this is actually now fun. This is fun. It looks pretty, like it's clear. It's not that cloudiness. Like that would be all right to serve. Okay, let's dump that out. We're gonna try a different approach. This is something I went to the grocery store this morning to pick up some liquids, but I couldn't figure out. You know, this is something I was gonna look it up and try to read about it because it's something I don't know offhand or through the course of my work. But oh, my mom is calling. What is my mom calling? Hold on one second, guys. Let me just see what my mom wants. Hello. Yes. Why? When? Fine. Okay, very good. All right. Okay. Okay, bye-bye. My mom is calling me to see, would you like to come to brunch with us and your niece? Yes, of course, I would love to come in. You know, I'm not going to tell her, I'm in the middle of live streaming now, Mom. Like, you know, thanks for taking me to the Victory Tour to go see Tito Jackson back then, but I got to go. That would not be nice. All right, so let's try this again. We're going to do, like I was saying, I was trying to figure out, like, what's the difference between seltzer water and soda, club soda, right? So I got some original seltzer and club soda. I should just look at the ingredient list. Why not just look at the ingredient list? And that should tell me. Carbonated, so seltzer water is carbonated water. There's our ingredients. Carbonate, okay, good, good. Now club soda. Oh, wow. I didn't realize this. Here it is. Club soda is actually carbonated water with potassium bicarbonate and potassium citrate. Whoa. Huh. Okay, here's a question for you guys. Let's do another version of it. Which one should we go with first? Club soda or seltzer? Maybe we should do the club soda because the seltzer would just be basically fizzy water. So we've kind of experienced that. Maybe let's look at the experience with the potassium sorbate. What? Potassium bicarbonate and potassium citrate, which I don't really know what the difference is. I don't know what those do. Empty Head says, I had to get a new kettle, one with a low cross-sectional area for lower volume throughput. The one I was originally using would pour too fast. Oh, you know, if pouring too fast is a concern for you, then perhaps you might be a good candidate for those fellow kettles, right? The fellow Stag kettle, they will heat up. I personally have said this many times. I hate the Stag kettle like with a blinding passion. Like it just infuriates me to use it. But you're saying that a big criteria for you is that you want to have something with a lower volume throughput. And that's something I think the Stag kettle does very well. It has a restrictor. I don't know exactly where it is, but let's say this Fit kettle from Hario, right? I can pour with this and it will just flow as fast as it'll come through here, right? There's whatever size this ID tube is, it's going to flow as fast as it can, which I prefer. I prefer to have the ability to go really hard or to go really lightly based on my desires at the moment. But if that's not what you're looking for, you want something that's going to like control your flow. So you could just basically go like this and it's going to come out at a certain rate. Then the Stag kettle might be a great choice for you because it has a restrictor that only allows so much water to flow through the spout, no matter how hard you're trying to get it out. And that's what I hate the most about it, right? If I'm pouring for a pour over, perhaps I want to be controlled. But let's say I want to use it in a cupping scenario, which is exactly the reason why the scenario that happened that I started to hate the thing. And I've got the cupping cup here. I want to fill this up as quickly as possible. I don't need to have it at a slow flow rate. I want it to come out and just, right? So look at the Stag kettles. Those are quite, and you know, as much as I hate vehemently on the Stag kettle, they're really well made. Like the quality of fellow is very high. I mean, it's if you're looking for something that has a flow restriction to regulate the amount of water, I think you'll be very happy with it. The quality is solid. They work really well. I've used them and I've not found anything quality-wise to have a disagreement with. Just the flow rate. So try that. Look at that. The spout cross-sectional. Yeah, I think I'm understanding you correctly. I think Uncle Michael says, remind me of. And Kiona's one, is this recipe going to be the base for your entry? Yes. It will be. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Uncle Michael. Good. The flow control is what I really like with the Kalita kettle. As fast or slow. Yeah, that's the nice thing with the Kalita. That spout really allows for really tiny drips to come through. And I learned that from the guys at Cafe del Hombre, because they would, like if you ever watch, there's videos online of him doing this. And when I finally make the next video for Cafe del Hombre later this year, there'll be a lot more of that. But basically, if you watch Fujihiko Hayashi doing it, he's very, he has very serious control over the way the water drips out of that little pelican style spout. Really allows precise control. I think in many respects it's very similar to those big, those Kalita, the kind of like Art Deco looking Kalitas with that weird long handle and the long spout like this. Like a lot of people say that has really precise pouring control. I think this one has similar. Sometimes the ergonomics on the Kalitas or this style of kettle is a little bit awkward. And if you're using it in the way that we'll sometimes use it, like using it as a heating device as well to reheat the water, you do have to be careful because since these are all metal, all steel, all enameled steel, like if you're heating it here, especially over an open flame, this handle will get really hot. So you always want to use I'm using paper towel here, but we use a bar towel to hold on to it. And if you ever watch videos from like Cafe del Hombre, they are using bar towels because the handles do get pretty darn hot. So do be careful about that. I'm turning red. Yeah, probably because I've been drinking a lot. Like last year when I was in Tokyo, right? I met up after I saw Yoko Michael, went up to back to Tokyo, met up with some friends, and not that same day, but maybe a day or two later, went to that place called Hoppy Street. So if you guys ever go to Tokyo and you're in Tokyo and you want to go to a place called, there's a place called Hoppy Street, Hoppy Street, or Happidori is really what it's called. And if you're at the Sensoji Temple in Asakusa, which is the big red temple that everybody goes to, if you're looking at the temple gate, go to the left, go to the west side of the temple, and there's a place called Hoppy Street. And it's a small street, a couple blocks long, lined with all these outdoor izakayas. So you get a table, you sit down, and you order food, and you drink hoppy. And hoppy is this hops, I think it's a hops derivative kind of beverage. It's a beer-ish, but not beer. So very low ABV, very low alcohol. And you mix it with shochu. And you sit there drinking this hoppy shochu mixture on ice. So it's like a shandy. It's really light. It's refreshing. It's cool. It's excellent. And you're drinking and you're eating and you're drinking and you're eating and you're just getting hammered. I was so like, I shot video over there and I'm pretty hammered in the video. It's like, word. I haven't watched the footage, but I was like, I remember shooting and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty hammered. So yeah, that's a great way to spend the night. And like from like, let's say you go there 4 or 5 and you go there till like 9, that's a great time to be there. Like you've already seen the temple, you walked around a bit, maybe you bought some stuff on Kapabashi Street, the kitchen street, and then now you need some time to chill, go eat, drink, and then if you leave around 9:30, you still have time to get to do something else. And, you could still do something else and then go get the last train home, right? You're not going to be necessarily battling the last train. So some tips for you if you go to Japan. And Peter says, I pour straight out of my electric kettle. Why buy more gear? Exactly. You know me, I'm not necessarily a promoter of buying more gear. I like to buy less gear. Okay, so club soda. We'll do the club soda because it has that extra effervescence from those different chemicals that are in it. Okay, so now we've got our ice. We're gonna do the club soda version, right? Club soda. So again, let's get our liqueur. Yeah, I am definitely feeling, I better not. I was thinking I'm going to drive my mom. Maybe I'm going to have mom drive me. That's embarrassing. Have your mom drive you places when you're like old. I had that happen a few years ago, like maybe 10, 12 years ago. We went to my friend's house and she was like, try some brownies. I was like, all right. So I tried the brownie and there it is. Tried some brownies. And she's like, how do you feel? Like a little quarter of the brownie. I was like, how do you feel? I was like, I don't feel anything. It's like maybe 40 minutes later, half an hour later. She's like, try another quarter. All right. Half an hour later, I don't feel anything. Try another quarter. I end up eating the whole brownie. I didn't feel anything. Luckily, one of my friends who was with us, he was like, because I was like, at this point, it was like later at night, it was later in the evening. I was like, I got to go home. And I was like, okay, listen, did you feel anything? I was like, I don't feel anything. I feel nothing. I feel nothing. I feel totally normal. But luckily, I had one of my friends who was like, I'll follow you home just in case. I was like, all right, fine. Get in the car. Start driving. I get a mile down the road and suddenly I start to feel it. And I'm like, oh. I get on the freeway and I'm thinking, there's a park and ride like 3 exits away. I'm going to go there. I get to the first exit. I'm like, okay. I get past the first exit and suddenly, man, I am starting to lose my ability to control the vehicle. Like, I have now started to question, will I be able to maintain keeping this vehicle on the road? Like, it's really bad. Like, so I finally was like, I'm going to pull over. So I pull over, I get off the next exit, the second exit, and luckily there's a post office there. So I find this post office just off the freeway. I parked the car, my friend drive me home. I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God he was smart enough to do that. Okay, so let's put the club soda in. Club soda. Will this be the better treat? Right there, we added that. One thing is always want to make sure that you keep it closed. Also, one thing about with when it comes to carbonation drinks, I just squeezed a little bit to get the air out of it. You want to do that just to make sure that you are trying to preserve the carbonation. Also, you want to keep it cold. Like as you can see, it's really cold, right? It's all like getting sweaty because it's so cold. Cold by keeping the carbonated water or any kind of carbonation soda or anything like that, by keeping it cold, it keeps the carbonation in solution. It holds it in. The warmer it is, the more it fizzes out. Like if you ever open up Coca-Cola when it's like warm and hot, it's terrible because it loses its effervescence. So anything that has carbonation, keep it cold. It'll be a lot better. So let's look here. Whoops. Let's look here. Nice color, right? I like the separation. Again, the separation is because we're having that heavier. Interesting. Not bad. Not bad. Let's get some. Whoops. I'm not a bartender. I'm a barista. We don't do these kind of things normally. Okay, here's our little lemon squeeze. Get our oils in there along the rim. Put that in. Let's do a little. Ooh. That's nice and like bright and fresh and like that's actually kind of nice. All right, let's get our empty head style of mintiness going on here. I'll tear it up. I don't know if you remember that from elementary school. Well, I didn't do that in elementary school. High school. Okay. So a little bit of mint, some lemon, and club soda. Ooh, that's fun. 3/4 of an ounce of the liqueur. All right, that's pleasant. That might be the way to go. That might be the way to go. Peter says, I'm getting a horror switch, but that's, oh yeah, you haven't got it yet still? We talked about that last week. You still haven't bought it? Go buy it. Don't wait. Or buy whatever. I don't really mind. But so, like I was saying, I had my friend drive me home. I left my car at the post office. I was so messed up the next day that I had to ask my mom. I was like, I had to ask my mom, can you go get my car? So her and my aunt had to go way up north of where we live to go find this vehicle and bring it home. And I had a staff meeting that day, that afternoon. It was a Sunday. So we were open. So the shop then was open till like 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock. And I had scheduled a staff meeting after that. So we were going to dinner at this restaurant. So dinner and a meeting. And I was still messed up that next day. So I was like, I even had to ask my mom, can you give me a lift to the staff meeting? How embarrassed. I was like, I'll never eat brownies again. Never eat consumables. I don't do consumables, right? Because there's no escape, right? There's no escape. You eat the consumable, everything goes into you. Like if you're smoking, that's burning off. But if you're eating, oh man, it is not good. Not good for you. I don't recommend it. Yeah, Kilda even says, you'll like the Switch. I think you'll like the Switch. It's a good device. Easy to use. All right, so I think that's what we're going to do for this weekend, or at least I'm going to plan on doing, and I may have to actually pivot. I will try to look up the rules today and see, like, will this be banned? Here's the thing though, right? About getting banned, right? The judges have to catch you. That's always been my thing as a competitor, whether I was in sports, like doing paintball or something, or even in like barista competitions. There's rules, and as the player, I believe that it's our job to push the rules, to test the rules, to expand on the rules, right? So like when we were playing paintball, like I would be rather aggressive, and like I would try to intimidate the refs, right? Because it could be to my advantage, right? If I can intimidate you as the ref, maybe I can get a little bit of advantage. And I don't think there's anything in a competition. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because the refs or the judges should be good enough that they can like push back on you and keep you in check. And that's what I always tried to do when I was a ref for other paintball games. You had to be on top of them. When I was a judge for coffee competition, you got to be on top of it. You got to know your game. You got to be able to understand ingredients and be able to understand what they're doing. Some people are just not as good as that. And it's kind of sad. Like we have a rule in the competitions where you must wear an apron. And we had a competitor come up one day and he was wearing kata pants. So he wore pants, but he wore kata pants over it. And these are kata pants. They're not kata aprons. And I was like, well, this guy deserves he didn't meet the criteria for this category. And all the other judges were like, no, it's okay. And I was like, what do you mean it's okay? He's wearing pants. I even showed them the definition. Like, he's wearing pants. These are not aprons. Yeah, but he's wearing pants on top of other pants. And I was like, really? If I wore shorts on top of other shorts, you'd allow that? Because, anyway, I lauded the guy for like pushing it. I thought the judges were idiots for like allowing it. I was like, you have to catch them. And so like, even when I competed, I'll put in ingredients that may be verboten, but are you good enough to catch it? I'm willing to risk disqualification to see if they're good. This is why I'm terrible. I'm not the ideal, person to compete, I guess. But I won't complain. Like if you catch me and I was, blatantly violating the rules to try to seek an advantage, and you catch me and you disqualify me, I'm not going to be upset. Like, I'll be disappointed that I got caught, but I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to be angry. I'm like, okay, fair enough. You got me. You're good. Respect to you. Peter says, break the rules. Of course, man. Always break the rules. Always. Rules are there to be broken. Except the commandments. You shouldn't do those. Don't break those rules. Stay with those. That breaking those has like severe penalties. Like I'm like, oh, I don't like that. That burning in hell for all eternity is never a pleasant. That's not a pleasant idea for me. Like I may live to be 80, thank God, or maybe only 60, thank God as well. And that's a long time. But the eternity burning, I can barely take 60 years on this planet. I'm going to take 80. I'm going to take eternity burning. No, I can't do that. Anyway. That's pretty much it for today. We'll be back again tomorrow with more coffee Q&A for the last day of the week. If you're free this evening, or in your case, tomorrow morning, some of you, 8 a.m. on the Ono Live channel, we have our weekly Thursday night hang with the Coffee and Cigars live stream. We're going to be talking about this cigar called the Ashton Heritage Churchill, which recently earned 95 points in a Cigar Aficionado rating. So Cigar Aficionado, if you're not familiar, is like the premier magazine for the premium cigar industry. And they've given us extremely high score. I was able to get one from George Brightman at Capital Cigar to compare. And we're going to see how it does. What does their 95 mean in our scoring system? Let's find out tonight. If you have time, come and join us. We'll see you next time. Otherwise, that's it for today. Hope you have a wonderful day, or have a wonderful, sweet dreams if you're on the other side of the world. And see you next time. Oh, Eduardo Valle is here. Man, I'm about to complete this advice. I'm about to complete this advice. Okay, so don't take my advice. Don't take my advice if you're competing, especially if you've been preparing for a long time now. You've already got your routine. Stay with that routine. You've already got it down. Just remember that you have to Understand the rules. Understand the rules and understand the score sheets, and understand, more importantly, how to exploit those rules and score sheets, right? Remember, there are certain categories of rules or the score sheets that say you must tell the judges what they're going to experience. Otherwise, that score will be 0. No matter what you do, no matter what they taste, if you don't tell them what they're going to taste beforehand and experience beforehand, you will get 0s on those, and those will kill your chances of winning. If you go overtime, don't worry so much about it. Right? This is something that I see killing competitors worldwide, right? A few seconds over time is not going to eliminate you from competition. Or actually, what it's not going to do, it's not going to eliminate you from going to the finals, which is what you want. You just want to survive into the finals. And then you can go for it from there. So make sure that you understand that if you go over time, you want to know that. So here's how it works. So those of you who may not be familiar with competition, let's say a typical barista championship, 15 minutes for your presentation. You have 16 minutes total because there's a 1 minute overtime period that you can go right up to 59 seconds overtime. So you can go to 15 minutes and 59 seconds and you're still okay. For every second over 15 minutes, you get a 1 point penalty. You can survive if you do well enough, or if the people around you do poor enough, you can survive a 59 point penalty. You cannot survive a 60 point penalty, which means you've reached 16 minutes, and 16 minutes is automatic disqualification, right? You could have 6s on all of your categories to win, with a perfect score. But if you go over 16 minutes, you hit 16 minutes, you're done, you're toasted. There's no way out of that. So what I always told people is that, when I was, so I would have competitor meetings before the championships, right? And I would bring all the competitors together, and I would have them ask any question they want. I don't think that this is normal practice for a lot of the reps from the World Coffee events, but because I come from the competitor world and a background, I always wanted to give the competitors the best chance possible. And I realized that competitors are not equal. They don't have equal opportunity to resources and funding and practice and all of that. So I wanted to give those, especially those who may not have those resources as some of their other competitors, a little bit better chance, a little opportunity to ask someone of experience, what should they do? How should they do it? And I would let them ask anything. If you wanted to ask about how to present something, you could ask that. And I would tell you, but it would have to be in a group format so that everyone would benefit, everyone would hear. And it wasn't as though I was coaching the person individually and playing favorites, because that was really important. We don't want to play favorites. I don't want to play favorites. I just want everyone to have as much information as possible that they could use to do as best as they can. But the one thing that I always told people was make sure that if you go over time, don't get upset, don't get worried about it. Just finish, and finish quickly. Like, for example, if you look at the base, if you look and you're over time and you're in the middle of serving your final round of drinks and you look and it's 15:45, stop. Just stop, right? Maybe you didn't serve that drink. You'll lose some points on that drink. Fine. Just stop. Stop talking. Or just serve your drinks. Don't talk. I've seen competitors serve their drinks and keep talking. They would maybe they serve their drinks at 15:10. They put the last drink down and they continued to talk for another 55 seconds. And I was like, dude, you have just killed yourself. So if you need to serve your drinks within that last minute, that extra overtime minute, serve your drinks. Tell them what you need to do, but get it done and just be like, time. Don't clean, don't do anything else, time, because you're out of time. Number one thing that I tell you, and I remember one year I was at this one competition where there was only 7 competitors, 7. And I brought them all together. I said, hey, we have 7 competitors. If we follow the normal format, which is you only allow 6 people to go through to the finals. That means only one person gets eliminated. That means one of you sitting here will be out. And then we go to, now the question that I'm asking you guys is, would you prefer a modified format? Would you prefer to go with this way, the standard way, where one of you gets eliminated? Or would you prefer with the modified format where we can just make a finals with 4 competitors so that, at least it's not just one person that loses that? And they were some were for one or the other. And I said, here, it has to be this. I'll give you time whenever you're ready. Take some time, 15 minutes or so, talk amongst yourselves, but it must be a unanimous decision amongst all of you. You all have to agree on this format change. I mean, I could have imposed it and that would have been fine, but I wanted it to be something where they had buy-in, right? And they all said, yeah, let's do it. We're going to do 6-person finals. 1 person gets eliminated. No problem. We ran the preliminary round. We went to the finals with 4 competitors. Why? Because 3 of them disqualified themselves by going overtime. So make sure that if you're going to compete, pay attention to the time and stop. God's sake, just stop. Even if you're in the finals and you're running overtime, you reach 15:45, no matter where you are in your presentation, no matter what you're doing. If you reach 15:45 time, raise your hand and say time and drop everything, because you will at least survive. You hit 16 minutes, done. There's nothing that I or any judge could do for you at that point. All right. Those are some things. If you want, we could talk more about your competition and maybe things that could help you, Eduardo, in the future. Let me know when you are going to compete and let me know more about your plans. Maybe we can talk more about that in one of the episodes. Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, thank you. Every advice is great. Maybe you can talk. Yeah, man, let me know. Let me know. Send me a message like on Instagram, onocoffee4, and just say, hey, man, this is what I'm planning to do. This is I have questions about the competition. Let me know. We'll go through them. No problem at all. No problem at all. All right. Now I got to go because I got to go drive my mom. Hopefully not get a DUI at the process. All right. Have a wonderful day. See you guys next time.